you beautiful people, and welcome to this video of Man Alpha, Man Strong, Man must man to stick it to the man. Now, I may just be a soy boy pussy ass beta cook, but I just don't really understand the whole alpha male grind set thing. It's cringy as hell. Some dudes really just made up a new level of being a man that apparently makes them the superior form. Well, I'm actually a flexoodle male, which is a step above Alpha Sigma. So I win. I obviously understand the part of it that's about like working really hard until you eventually get what it is you really want. That's fine. That's great. Do that. People just take it way too far and make the grind their entire personality. Like, it's okay to do other things. Live your life. But apart from a lot of alpha content just being some dude flexing on you about how much money he has, making you feel like shit because you're not as rich as them, and hating women, there's also another aspect of it that I hate. The old school idea of a man's man that feels no emotion. And in the case of the video that we're watching today, which is why men should not show emotion, he says to bottle up your emotions and not show them in front of women specifically. Which we'll get to, okay? There's a lot going on here, and his reasonings for all of this it's so stupid. And just to really put into perspective how stupid this video is, this video starts with a little animation that tells the story of a man who opened up and cried in front of his girlfriend, and then the relationship instantly starts to break down after that. In fact, he says that a relationship cannot physically survive more than 2 months after a dude has cried in front of his girlfriend.
Maximum 2 months for every guy who ever opens up to his girlfriend. About 2 months later, either the relationship ends or she's cheating on the side.
It is physically impossible for a woman to maintain feelings with you after you've showed any actual human emotion, which is obviously a lie. Like, I'm sure that there are women out there who would lose interest after this, but in that case, is that really the type of person that you want to be with? Someone who instantly loses interest in you if you look for any kind of emotional support. Being vulnerable does not equal weakness. That's stupid. Then there's another animated bit where he's talking about Adonis and it's the Chad meme. And this actually made me laugh because the fact that people actually look at the Chad meme and are like,
hell yeah, that's what a man is supposed to be.
I mean, he is considered the ultimate Chad for a reason, but come on. And in this animation, he says this.
But Adonis is a masculine man, and so he will solve those problems himself or with his brothers. His time with his woman is pure because he treats her more like his daughter rather than his mother.
And like, I think I get what he means. He's talking about like just loving and protecting your wife like you would your daughter. But saying that you consider your wife like a daughter is pretty weird. Freud called. He wants his Oedipus complex back. That's the worst joke I've ever told in my life. In fact, he says that you shouldn't even treat her like a friend.
They're telling you to treat your partner, your wife, your woman, like your buddy, like your male friend.
And like, what's wrong with that? Oh no, how awful. I want to have a long-term relationship with someone who I consider to be my best friend, who I love to hang out and spend time with. Oh no, I'm not a masculine alpha male because I want to like the person that I'm with, enjoy their company, and not just have a blank slate that follows my every command. Because one of his arguments is that if you cry in front of her, that is you giving her feminine energy. So she then has to give you masculine energy in return.
Asking for her guidance. You discard your masculinity and you give her feminine energy from yourself. And when you give her feminine energy, that means that she has to give you masculine energy. You will literally begin to notice that she will be more masculine and dominating even when you guys are having sex.
So everything balances out, which apparently leads to her being more dominant in the relationship. And it's just, that's just not how it works. Firstly, I don't understand how just crying itself is considered like inherently feminine energy. Like I know that people say, oh, he's crying like a girl. But that's stupid. You can cry like a man. You can cry macho like that Clint Eastwood movie that nobody watched. Or better yet, maybe human emotions are just that. Human emotions. And it really doesn't matter who's crying, they're still crying. So you should try and support them. Unless it's a serial killer or something like that, then you can let them cry. But his reasoning for why women being more dominant in the relationship is bad is this.
You'll ask her to do something and she'll make an excuse and not do it. For the first time ever, she will disobey you.
Yeah, don't cry in front of your woman because then she'll stop following orders and must be executed. If you enjoy being bossed around by your partner, like you're into that, go for it. I don't care. And I could be wrong, but I just feel like for most people, they still want to like be their own person and remain an autonomous human being. Just because you're in a relationship shouldn't stop you from being you. And being in a relationship where they're telling you what to do like literally all of the time just isn't healthy. Unless they're telling you to stop doing heroin. Then you should probably listen. To be fair to the guy, Hamza, I think his name is, to be fair to him, he's very aware that people now are encouraging guys to show emotion, be a bit more vulnerable, and maybe shed a tear or two in front of their partner. But every time he brings it up, he's like, no, they're wrong. They're all doing it wrong. I'm right. This is how everything should be because this is exactly what will happen. And it's like, that's exactly what they're saying about you. If everyone on the internet is saying that this thing is wrong, why does that mean that you're right? He even says this.
Everyone else is disagreeing. When everyone agrees on some narrative, it usually means that that narrative's fucking bullshit.
So what about all the people that agree with his narrative? If everyone agreeing on one thing means that thing is bullshit, that also means that your narrative is bullshit because so many people also agree with you on that. It's such a stupid argument. He's even said that we've been brainwashed by the media and he's here to unbrainwash us and set us free and show us the truth. But I'm pretty sure that this is just another brand of brainwash. I wouldn't say freed, more like under new management type thing. And again, to be fair, he does a lot of work for like men's mental health, which is obviously great. Keep doing that. But he also says that men should only bottle up their emotions like around women and unbottle them to like a male best friend. Which I can see working for some people, like at least he's suggesting that you should get those emotions out. He's not saying to ignore them completely or anything, which is good. But his reasonings for all this is a bit questionable.
If I have a problem of stress of like, oh yeah, you know, I'm leading a movement of 1 million people and it's really stressful, all she can do is like, oh, yo, come here. I tell Sam, it's like, okay, let's think of some solutions.
According to this man, women are mentally incapable of helping you come up with a solution for whatever is stressing you out or upsetting you. Because women only know how to cuddle and stuff. What if you only really have female friends? We don't know everybody's situation. They might not have a brother in arms. And remember what he said about crying in front of women and how that gives them more masculine energy and makes them more masculine in general? Which is such a stupid sentence. Does that mean, by his logic, if I cry in front of a woman enough, she'll eventually gather so much masculine energy that she'll be able to become my brother in arms and give me advice? I'm guessing yes, because he says this.
Telling the male friend that you have who's similar to you is probably going to be more practical and useful than telling like your feminine girl, right? If your girl's really masculine and you're feminine, then of course, like, yeah, fair enough, you can like open up to her. If she's like way more work and career driven than you are, and you're like the little bitch who thinks about her while she's thinking about work, fair enough.
Okay, so I can cry in front of a woman if they're masculine and career driven enough? Is being career driven a masculine trait? Can you see how stupid this is? And then he says this.
Probably do want a woman to be feminine and submissive rather than her to dominate you. You want her to be submissive to you. That means that if she is full of feminine energy, she can only be totally attracted to and in love with a man who displays perfect masculine energy. When you show weakness and emotions and you cry and stuff, you're showing to her that you are not that perfect masculine man.
Again, if that's the relationship you want, if you want to be with a career-driven robot with no emotional depth, go for it. I don't care. It just feels like such a generalization to say that all feminine women are consumed by the desire for the perfect masculine man. Which brings up the whole argument of what really is the perfect masculine man. Is it the group of lads fighting and screaming about the football results? Some people would say yes. I was in McDonald's the other week. This seems like quite the topic change, but we'll get there. I was in McDonald's the other week and some dude like shoved in front of me and shoved me out of the way. So I was obviously like, hey man, what the f***? You could clearly see that I was stood here. So he immediately threatened to chin me. Like there was nothing else. I said, can you not do that? I'm clearly stood here. And he immediately turned around and was like, I'll chin you, mate, sure. So I talked it down because I obviously don't want to fight in McDonald's over something as stupid as that. I just want a burger. And then when he walked away, his mate just stood there like just doing that to me? Like, mate, you're clearly at least 26 years old. What the f*** is wrong with you? Some people consider those dudes to be masculine men and not idiots that are plaguing society. But I don't want to get into all that. Just be yourself. Chill out. Who gives a shit? The fact that some people do give a shit is so stupid. Just focus on yourself.
Relationships, you probably agree with, were a lot better and longer lasting 100 years ago. Do you think that old school 1900s man wearing the top hat, do you think he was coming home like, oh, it was really hard, Or was he a man with a fucking strong hand grip?
Are you sure about that? Because I'm pretty sure domestic abuse numbers were quite a bit higher back then. And obviously that's a terrible thing and it should never happen to anybody ever. But this romanticized view about how relationships worked in the past it's mostly false. He also says to make sure that you have a good handshake, which I actually do agree with, purely because one time I met like my ex-girlfriend's granddad, and he thought that I was a proper man's man just because I had a good handshake. It's so stupid how such a simple thing can shape somebody's entire view of you. So make sure you've got a good handshake, because then you can impress old men. And isn't that what it's all about?
Two dynamics that you can have in a relationship. It's either the father-daughter dynamic, where you are the leader, she is submissive, or it's the son-mother dynamic, where she's the leader and you are submissive. She's masculine, dominant, you're feminine, submissive. Which one do you want to be?
Or, I don't know, you both just hang out and be a bit more equal. It's a partnership. You're facing the world with this person. I don't see why one of you has to be more dominant than the other. Just go with the flow and do things that you both enjoy. He seems like the type of guy who wouldn't let his girlfriend pick the movie for the night because her tiny brain could not comprehend such an intense decision. And I understand that there are times where a man is expected to step up. Like if I was out with my girlfriend and we got mugged, I would like to think that I would disarm him by doing a backflip and then punch him in the face and knock him out and save the day. But I wouldn't be doing that because I'm an alpha male who is the father to my daughter girlfriend. I do it because that's just more of the natural thing for me to do. Also, I'm Batman. And then this whole narrative makes sense. He explains that he was with someone for a few years who considered him to be the ultimate alpha.
And when I tell you, this isn't an exaggeration, right? When I tell you that she saw me as like the ultimate alpha male for years, like fully she was mine, right?
And then he followed the internet's advice and she immediately left him. And he keeps describing her as the perfect submissive girl, which is really weird. He seems to only value the submissiveness of a woman, since that's the only thing about her he talks about. Imagine looking back on your ex and the only thing you think about is, wow, she did everything I told her to do. But he blames this advice, the fact that he cried in front of her once, as the sole reason that the relationship fell apart. And if that really is the only reason, then that is brutal, that is tough. Leaving someone because he acted like a human being with actual emotion, rather than this perfect, idealized alpha male that she wanted. However, another reason could be that it was because he viewed her as the perfect submissive woman who followed his every command, and that's weird.
I'd be working a job and she would do all of it. There'd be a sale, boom, I send her a screenshot, she packages the piece of clothing and the packages, writes the post-it, the post address, takes it to the post office, pays with her money, I don't even pay her back, and sends me the receipt and everything. I had a submissive girl, right? The girl who's totally in my frame, who saw me as the alpha.
But he is an alpha, and alpha males never accept liability, responsibility, and could never be the true issue. He's the perfect alpha sigma male. It's all the woman's fault. It can't be his fault, it's all her. Editing Morgan here, and I honestly don't know how I didn't talk about this in the video, so just watch this.
The relationship problems only happen when you don't act masculine and she doesn't act feminine. That's it. Literally, it's simple as that. Relationship problems come when you don't act masculine and she doesn't act feminine.
I mean, really? Saying that every problem in a relationship is entirely down to gender roles is absolutely ridiculous. Imagine being like, you lost all of our money in the casino because you're a woman. The reason the dog got out and ran over by a car is because you're a man. And I swear to God, if anybody tries to justify this by saying that, oh, maybe she wouldn't have to gamble if he earned enough money to support her as a man. As a protector, the man should have made sure that the door was shut so the dog couldn't get out. Just listen to yourself. Anyway, back to the video. And most people in the comments seem to agree with me that a lot of this video is really stupid. Moral of the story, date men so you can show your emotions, which is so true. If you want to be with someone who is your best friend and you can be 100% genuine and open to, and you physically cannot achieve that with any woman, just date your bro. He's your brother in arms, but he could be your brother in your arms. Genuinely baffled at how this isn't satire. I honestly wish it was, because everything he says in this video is such a stereotypical and ridiculous view on the world. Like almost to the point where it could be a sketch and I would completely believe it. Coco Melon for 14-year-olds. Yeah, the amount of kids I've seen online with this alpha male mentality, thinking that all women do is sleep around, eat chip and lie, wanting a man to tell them exactly what to do for their entire life, is ridiculous and scary. But that's all I have to say about this video. It's just so stupid and full of such terrible and outdated advice. And I'll underline all of this by saying again, do you really want to be with someone who will lose interest and leave you immediately after you just showing emotion? It just really doesn't sound like a healthy thing to be in. And there are obviously women that exist that are willing to be there and help you through all of that. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. We're getting so close to 1,000 subscribers, and it really does mean a lot to me. And if you do, then I will create a fully unironic alpha male video. And nobody wants to see that. Have a great day.